Hello, ASHLYN. I'm so excited to be interviewing you today. You have been just a longtime friend and client, and we would just love to hang out and chat with you. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your business to kick us off.
I know, I can't even think when we started working together, like a year. I'd have to
Yeah, I think it was
Mhm.
2021. So coming up
Okay.
like two
Oh,
and a half years. Yeah.
yeah, feels good. Okay, so my name is ASHLYN Carter. My business is ASHLYN Writes, and I firmly believe that not knowing what to say shouldn't hold people back from figuring out how to make their sales goals. And so what we do is we come alongside people in two different ways. We have an agency side of the business, and we also have a curriculum side and education side of the business. So that's what we do. And I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia. Soon, I guess I can say it here, study here first, soon to be back in Alabama, but we have a remote team and are all over the US. So that is who I am and what we do.
Love it. Oh my gosh. And I actually got to meet you in real life in January for
Yay.
the first time. We've been working together for so long. That's the crazy thing about remote teams, but then actually got to hug you in January at the Elevate Summit
Yes.
to hear you speak, which was such a treat because you were the queen on stage and we
Oh,
all loved it.
it was so fun to get to meet you in person and just I don't know, every time I go to a conference, I remember that I love what I do. And like it gets you I don't know, we all need that. So I'm grateful that conferences have come back fully since 2020's madness.
Yes, absolutely. Yay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I would love to know before we jump into talking about bookkeeping and all things numbers and finances, what are one or two things that you would love for people to know about copywriting? Because that is what you do and what you love
Yeah.
in your heart. I would love to know that.
Yeah. First is you have got to be good enough to be dangerous. Like you need to copywriting is going nowhere fast as far as a skill that you as a business owner need to understand how to do. I've always related it to it's like Shark Tank. They get on there, they've got to know their numbers, they've got to know like their basic P&Ls, and they also need to be able to pitch. And if you as the CEO can't pitch you and tell me why you over anybody else, especially if they charge less than you do, you've got to be able to like get in that owner's seat and tell me that. And that is a skill that can be developed also with the advent of AI. There's just going to be more content, more noise. There's more businesses. I think it was like 5 million in small business applications in 2021, 5.3 million submitted last year. So like we are just seeing more businesses start. So again, you've got to be able to properly position yourself in the market and figure out hooks and figure out angles. And I obviously love copywriting services. It's what we do, but to me, that's what comes when you're ready to pour gasoline on something and you're ready to rev it up. The spaghetti sticks to the wall. And so that's like one thing I want people to feel equipped to be able to even if it's not their love, that's okay. They don't love like, kind of probably very similar to how I look at when you send me reports, I can look at it and call shots and make assessments. You need to be at least educated enough to understand how to find out hooks and nose out angles as the business owner. So,
I love it. And I love it as I consume your content and go through your courses and programs. I love that that flexes my muscle too, because I'm not good at that. But I love honing that skill and getting
yeah.
better at teaching myself, knowing what really makes my business different from everyone else. That
Yeah.
onlyness factor took me so long to figure out
Yes.
when we first started working together. And I was like, what is it? What is it? But I love that I now get to kind of flex that and really truly
Great.
understand what makes us different. So
Exactly.
let's jump into everything. How did you know when you first started your business or were in your business for a little bit? How did you know that you were ready to either hire a bookkeeper or that you just needed to do your bookkeeping?
Okay. So the first Because and again, messaging sales came naturally to me. It was the other stuff that did not. So when I first started my business, I had no problem getting once I figured out like the Ashland size gap in the market and I started being able to communicate that, clients started coming in. I was it was like a blue ocean strategy moment. And so I started having clients come in. I had no idea how how to price myself, what cuts to take of stuff. So I would on Fridays, every Friday, open up this spreadsheet in Google and I would just take all my receipts and I would punch them in. And I would like, it was the most basic plus minus checkbook balancing system. But
Mhm.
that's the only way I knew how to start. And so I would spend time doing that every Friday. And once I started spending like half my Friday doing that, that was when I was like, okay, now I understand, like, I have basic categories, I have a basic understanding of what's coming in and what's going out. Now I think I'm ready to hire somebody to do this part of it so I can start to look at trends and patterns and move on to bigger financial problems like my pricing structure. So that was the clue. It was when that spreadsheet time on Fridays started taking like 3 plus hours.
And think about it now, especially having kids too, 3+ hours is huge.
Oh
That
my
amount of
gosh.
time where you can either brainstorm something new, figure out your pricing strategy, come up with a new sales pitch or new hooks or something else in your business that brings in more sales. That is, yeah, 3.5 hours crunching numbers on a
Oh
spreadsheet.
yeah.
Just
Oh,
not
yeah,
true.
no, I need to be in the CEO seat now, but I'm so glad again, it's, like, very correlative to copywriting. I I I didn't just, like, farm it out at the beginning. I had to work through it to understand and be able to speak with a bookkeeper and explain what I need, and that was really important.
Awesome. I love hearing that. And I don't know if I actually knew that about the spreadsheet too.
Yeah,
So,
girl. It's
which is my next
I wish I
one.
could just, like, have shown I mean, it's, like, as rudimentary, it was, like, little me with my calculator, like, I just am so that stuff takes me extra long because 'cause I'm not good at it, so it was rough.
Oh, but it's so cute. It's a cute picture too.
Yeah.
Okay. You crank out content so well. You've got an amazing team underneath you. How do you feel that bookkeeping helps support you with planning out your launches or budgeting for team members or just overall like running your business in general?
I love making strategic financial calls in the business as far as looking at like, and I don't wanna, like, talk about how much I'm not good at math the whole time, but I think, like, I I've joked before, don't like math except I like marketing math. I like figuring out ROI on a campaign or a project. And so one thing that I like to do is and it's really interesting too because I think you used to could in the ATM days of like Facebook ads and everything else really figure out draw a line very quickly from the money you would put into a campaign and the ROI that it spit out, but you cannot do that anymore. When privacy law changed, a lot of that stuff started changing. It's a lot and you have more like you mentioned we create a lot of content. And thank you. And I would say when I'm not pregnant and non-pregnant years, we do. Pregnant years, I'm, like, getting used to the fact it's just, like, it is what it is. But,
Totally.
we you have more aggregate sources pouring into the top of the funnel. So you've got your YouTubes. It's a little bit harder to track based on UTMs. You've got your emails coming in, you've got partnerships coming in, you've got your ads coming in. So you've got more pushing in, and so it's harder to figure out, like, well, what was the thing? So what I've learned more that people are, starting to measure, and I got this, Julie Chanel is the first person I heard mention this, is your, like what did she call it? Your MRE? Marketing revenue she called it your MER. MER. I'll figure out what that stands for. But basically, instead of calculating based on ads equal this amount of ROI, you're starting to calculate all the marketing input that you're putting in, paying your content writer, all that kind of stuff, and then figuring out what is spit out at the end. And so that's the kind of can't even remember, Madison, what question you asked now, but that's the kind of puzzle now that I like looking at and figuring out a greater strategy with. It's been a stinking hard year in business for a ton of people. For I feel like if you saw a boom in 2020, 2021, now we're getting to see the recession side of that now, and things are petering off. And so that metric does make more sense now. Again, it was the good old glory days when you could just so easily draw the line between we spent $3 on ads, we made $20 on the client, but
Mhm.
you can't do
Yep.
that anymore.
Yeah. And really, I feel like bookkeeping is such a more holistic picture too, kind of figuring out that the term that Julie was talking about of what truly goes into this specific campaign or
Yes.
this specific launch. So if this came in total revenue, what
Yes.
expenses do we have coming out and how does that all shake out for the bottom line?
Yes.
Which bookkeeping just goes hand in hand with. So I
It
think that those
does.
really, really complement each other.
It does. That's what I love, like, bookkeeping, what I love, it doesn't miss a thing, like, I want to see everything that went into it and, every expense involved. So, yeah.
And that kind of goes into also a question that I had for you because this has happened, I think, a couple of times in us working together where
Mhm.
we caught some things that you might have missed if you
Oh my
hadn't
gosh,
outsourced
yes.
working with a bookkeeper. Tell us about a couple of those moments. Amazon being
Oh,
the most.
yeah. I think I'm anal until I look at what you guys catch, and then I'm like, "Nope." It's so like, that's what's so helpful because you will think as a CEO, you have all you're recording every think about our software stacks. Everybody's software stack is banana pancakes, and you've got everything listed out, and I try to be so diligent about changing it, and then or if you go from, like, they up it by a little bit, or you need the middle tier, not the bottom tier anymore. Um, you think you capture all of that, and then you have a bookkeeper comb it with a fine-tooth comb and catch all the little bits. It's like those, on, like, Reddit and stuff, I feel like there are popular ads these days, like these services that catch all the subscriptions you're subscribed to and didn't even know it. It's like
Yep.
you're the walking version of that. Like, y'all catch the little things where it's like, "Hey, did you know that this was, coming out?" No, didn't know
Mhm.
that." Like, so that's what's so helpful, and then you slot it in a category, so I'm always grateful for that because again, I think I'm persnickety and record things and then like, LOL, no, y'all find something that I don't.
Totally. And then, yeah, recently we found Amazon too, all these like weird fraud charges where we had to like go back and we were so glad that we caught those and found
Yep.
out that they were not real. So that's also a fun thing about having a bookkeeper too
Oh
is
my
quickly
gosh,
catching those
yeah.
things and turning
I'm
them
glad you
around.
mentioned that was a good one. That was a good one.
It
We
was
had what was another, I know you were, like, a little bit involved with this one, but we had somebody in, like, basically a fraud thing going on in Shopify where we've had,
mm,
like, basically kind of a pirate going in and buying stuff and then requesting a refund. And some chick, it was like probably $1,500 that she found, but it's like stuff like that that you think all your systems are spinning, but then look under the cover and that's just happened with scale of business. And so it's really helpful to have a partner that can call that out.
yes. Oh, and we love being a partner to
No,
all of our clients. That is something that I really do feel like is our onlyness factor or part of our onlyness factor is that
yes,
we
it is.
really, really care, like genuinely, truly care about our
Yes.
clients and want to be right next to you as you're going through this crazy thing called entrepreneurship. So
Yes. One thing y'all have done so well that is I would say that's absolutely true about y'all. You've been helpful because like, by the time we started working together, I already had some systems set up and you did not like, I hate the phrase throw the baby out with the bathwater, but y'all weren't like, okay, well, this is how we do things. It was very much an adaptive process of like, okay, well, show us how you do categorize. How do you like to see things? And we'll fit and work with like, here's recommendations that we have. We think you need to use Gusto, stuff like that. But at the same time, you didn't like drop a bomb on the things that I already had developed. And that was really helpful.
I loved that was one of my favorite things when we first started working together is you had this entire mapped out budget that not only took into account your home budget and how much you
Mhm.
needed to bring home to keep the lights on and do the fun things in your house, but also what you needed to do in business and accounting for your expenses. So I took that entire thing and like put it into zero and we started
Yes.
comparing and contrasting like how much are you sticking to that budget or where do we need to make changes. That was so fun for me and yes,
Yes.
very adaptive, but so extremely satisfying and rewarding. So
Yeah.
we love to you are about to take a maternity leave in a couple of weeks. So congratulations first on third baby. How have you prepared for this financially and operationally for your business, whether
Okay.
taking time off or just planning in advance?
Yes. So the first 2 babies I had, I had planned out 12 weeks of content, recorded YouTubes, scheduled out all my social media posts, done my emails, and I had a lot smaller team then, and really needed those things in place to continue to hit certain numbers and goals. I've not done any of that for a third kid. I think I'm more comfortable too because I didn't know what to expect at all with kids the first couple of times, and now I'm like, well, those first few weeks are sleepy, and I'll kind of be in a cocoon for a little bit, but now I'm also like, it's really to me, when they're 3 months old, they start, like, wiggling that you're kinda like, "Oh my gosh," like, and sleep patterns change and all that. So, I have not done my usual with planning, um, and then I can say this too, and I've tried to be upfront with it with my audience, but I really spent a lot of 2022 preparing for I was like, I wanna have another kid, putting a team infrastructure in place to support that. Then 2023 happened and we got complete curveballs team-wise. And, like, everything that I'd worked to set up just started not working out. And so I think now I'm in a place and we're on the other side of it now and we're rebuilding. Um, Sarah on my team was like, "You know what?" She put it in football terms, which I let she was like, "Not even, like, every football dynasty has a rebuilding time." And I was like, "So true." So, I think I'm, like, in this really kind of, like, enjoyable phase where I'm like, it's gonna be a rebuilding I've just accepted the fact that this year we're rebuilding and moving some things around and trying new things, and the systems that got me 7 years in aren't gonna get me to 10 years in. And I had a lot of good automations and things set up, but I think we're just in a different level of play now, and so I'm kinda I don't know, I'm just more comfortable holding this maternity leave more loosely and getting some using this one to, I don't know, just get some things prepared and ready for 2024. So, that's how I prepare for it, but I will say because I you mentioned, like, the spreadsheets, because I always do start budgeting my business with, okay, what does my take home have to be? What is our enough number? I think that's so important too. The longer I'm in business, the more I'm like, I see that it's not all revenue. Somebody said
Mhm.
recently to me, it's not in this year, it's not even who's standing at the end of the year with the most profit. It's who's standing at the end of the year. Like, it's a
Yeah.
hard time to be a small business owner. So, like, just keep standing. But then I had another, my friend ASHLYN, he's an investment strategist. One time he was like, don't negate the fact that if you have a business that pays your salary, gives you the life you love. Like, y'all are so focused on profit and, like, how big is the profit margin? But, like, if you have a job you love that gives you a lifestyle you like, you've hit the jackpot. Not many people have that at all. And I think, like, so coming at our whole I just, like, kind of I'll wrap this up, but I think that is an approach that I have with maternity leave and stuff too. I'm like, I'm not yeah, I the fact that I can have a few weeks and then figure out what I wanna do is enough, and I'm grateful for that.
I love that. It's almost slowing down too. Of
Yeah,
we constantly want more. We're looking to the right or left, like, what is our industry doing? What are our competitors doing? But really, what is true for us and
yeah,
our values and how we want our business and our profit structured in a way that's just enough for us.
yep,
We give a little bit of away to be charitable and we give some to the church if that's something that you do.
yep,
But we also just have it for our family and we support team members too. So we know that we have people that we trust and we want to pour into their lives with
mhm,
a fair wage and salary.
yep,
And that's enough. And that
yep,
is okay. So I love that
so
you
good.
kind of structured your maternity leave in that way too, of like, I'm holding this pretty loosely, but it's just day by day. What's enough? What's enough
Yep,
today? What's enough to get me through a little bit of time off. So I applaud you for that. That's awesome. And you could talk forever and I would just be sitting here like, yeah, yeah.
it's yeah.
Don't wrap it up.
Well, yeah, that's been I remember one time Michael Hyatt said something like, if you're good at sales and making money, you kinda have a you do have a calling to, like or, his stance on it was, like, as a faith person of faith, like, you have responsibility to like make as much as you can so you can give as much as you can. And I totally believe that, but that I also couple that with there's seasons when like it's there's seasons when you just like you take care of your own and you take care of like your family and your employees and like that's enough. And so yeah, good stuff, Madison. Good stuff.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the ministry too. You are ministry, your family, your littles are
Yep.
ministry.
So
Last thing that I'm going to ask before we wrap this up. There are so many business owners that say, okay, I get it. I need bookkeeping. I don't want to do this myself, so I'm going to outsource this, but I just don't know if this money that I'm spending every single month is going to be worth it. Like, is this investment going to pay off? What would you say to those people that
yes.
have that objection to paying for a bookkeeper?
Look at it in dollars and cents. You have to know your hourly value in your business. What, like, very simply find your hourly rate for your business. So, as the CEO, when you're wearing the CEO hat for your business, how much does 1 hour of your time cost the business? Whether that 1 hour is going to be spent pitching and talking to people or scrolling on Instagram, you have to know the hourly value of your time. So, then when you're spending that time each week, going through your receipts or typing in your number or trying to figure out you need to get to a place. I think it was like Heather Crabtree that first made me realize I need to just like be able to look at a P&L every month. This is not the only financial thing I do, but like I at least need to be able to look at a P&L each month that's brought before me, Madison, and say like, okay, this like I need to see trends and metrics and be able to understand how to call shots based on that. But like my hourly, I don't serve the business best with my hourly rate when I am punching in numbers and trying to sort things because it's gonna take me 10 times longer than it takes Madison and her team. And I need to be able to look at, like, the aggregate data and call shots based on bigger picture things. And so that's what I would say is, like, if you can figure out and I don't have it right now, and I've got all my sticky notes on my computer, I don't have that one, but I used to keep my hourly rate on a sticky note, so I'd remember, like, "Okay, you're gonna decide to do that with an hour of your time, Ashlyn, that's the cost that it comes at." And so yeah, that's when it clicked for me, when I realized my talents are not spent best doing this, I need to be
Yes.
able to look at reporting.
And I love that you call it hourly cost too, because I feel like when I am just talking in content or educating, I am saying what you could be bringing in, but your way is definitely thinking like, what are you taking out? What are you removing from the business? Because this is the time that you're spending doing something that is just not your
Yep,
zone of genius,
yep,
that you truly are taking away from the business and taking away from someone else who really loves to do it,
yeah,
whether it's gatekeeping or cleaning out an inbox or having a team of copywriters, somebody else really loves to do something that you're not even that good at, that you could then outsource properly and free up your time to then continue bringing in
mhm,
and pitching and
yeah,
sales and other CEO things.
and they're probably faster than you.
1000%. Not that I'm tooting my own horn, but I mean
Oh,
1000% because I just hired an incredible virtual assistant several months ago, and she's so much faster at everything that I used to do.
yeah,
So yeah, 1000% they're faster and better and they love it more. So
yep.
all right. Anything else that we didn't talk about that you want to shout out? Also give us like where to find you so that we can all follow you if we're not already. But would just love to hear what you have going on and what you want to promote.
Yeah, I live on the internet at ashlynwrites.com and the copy.bar. I always tell people if you're stuck writing something, email us. We probably have a free tutorial out there after 7 years or a free template somewhere. So if you get stuck, there's a resource for it. Holler at us and we'll get you set.
Yay. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me today, Ashlyn. It's always such a treat. I will probably have sore cheeks after grinning from this entire
Oh,
time because I truly just enjoy spending time with you, hearing from you, learning from you. So yeah, thank you again.
absolutely. Thanks for having me on.